Retro Mondays.
Hey, what's happening, gamers? Welcome back to another Retro Mondays. Been a while, but the goal of this show is to turn your Monday into a fun day, as always. Today's old school game is Batman Returns, which turns 20 years old. Actually released for the Sega Genesis on October 10th, 1992, and even had a Sega CD port that released in 1993, which featured Batmobile racing stages, better music, graphics, and gameplay. But we're not looking at that game, and yes, I said we. That's right, folks. Back by popular demand is the one and only Dodger. How's it going, B? Did you have a choice Christmas and stellar New Year?
It was pretty uneventful, but I'm always a fan of winter, so it was a-okay by me.
Nice. Winter rules. Well, I know you're pretty familiar with this game from your childhood, so I'm sure you'll have more to say about this than I will.
Well, I played it when I was fairly young, and as a kid I actually never beat it. But I was only 5 when it came out, and I do remember tackling it when I was about 7 or 8, but some of the baddies are really daunting. I do remember enjoying it, though.
That is totally rad. I got to see this game growing up when I was little also, and got the chance to play it again in my 20s. Though, breaking from the norm, just so you know, I will be leaning more toward a bad cop persona for this video. Anyway, why don't you kick things off, Dodger?
Okay. The story for this game begins after the Penguin has killed the Ice Princess and framed Gotham's protector. The city turns to its Dark Knight, and it's up to Batman to prove his innocence while taking on the combined efforts of Penguin and Catwoman.
Unlike pretty much all the other Returns games, this one focuses on the middle of the movie, which I thought was pretty cool and helped this game stand out. Though it does shorten the experience and limits locations that Batman can visit. Anyway, Batman Returns is a side-scrolling platform game which features 5 acts.
Now, at the start of the game, Batman begins his journey by fleeing the scene on the rooftops. Here, players are introduced to the game's difficulty and faced with his first task of fending off clowns, flying gargoyles, and fighting Catwoman.
Gameplay consists of melee attacks, using his cape to glide, and selecting different gadgets from his utility belt. This is done by pausing the game, and works very well, I might add. While each weapon is limited to start, Batman has the ability to collect lots of additional weapons and ammo scattered around each level. For the more dedicated player, the developers have hidden lots of secrets and weapon caches to aid in the player's quest to save Gotham.
You know, I totally didn't even know that. It probably would have helped my poor child brain out when I was first playing this.
You know what, Dodger? It actually would have helped a lot of people out and ease some of this game's difficulty. See, the trick is, gamers need to stock up on as much weaponry as possible, and then the game is not really a cakewalk, but it's nowhere near as difficult as it was. That way, when you face some of the more fierce, annoying enemies, and trust me, there's a lot, you always have a second option.
Okay, wait, before K-Wing torches this game, I think we should talk about the game's visuals.
Sounds like a good idea to me. Ladies first, though.
Well, I've always loved how this game has retained the nickname of simply Purple Batman, but we'll discuss that later. As an adult, I can pretty easily say that while their palette made some elements very hard to see, overall it did have a feeling similar to the Burton Batman movies. There was a, dare I use the word, grittiness, while keeping the game pretty goofy, which was a line that they had to toe in order to make it seem like it fit. I did take issue with not always being able to tell what in the background I actually could grapple onto. Oh, the enemies disappearing randomly all the time. The character movements were pretty nice, though.
I agree to some extent, but I do like how the level detail echoes that of Burton's second film. The dark gothic look works, but at the same time gives the game a very bland look to it. The character models aren't that detailed either for a 16-bit game, with exception to a few enemies and of course the Penguin. My favorite looking stage, though, has to be the circus, which had the clowns coming out of the mirrors. That was pretty freaky as a kid. Then again, that movie It does things to a child's mind anyway, and man, the nightmares, I'll tell you that. Even though it didn't appear in the movie, I liked how they worked that stage into the game.
Definitely, although sometimes additional levels feel like anime filler, but in this situation I actually really liked the circus.
Yeah, that analogy actually works very well, Dodger. Okay, it's time for the bad aspect.
Alright, I'm just gonna step back and let you go for it. I've been feeling you gearing up for this section since before we even started.
Oh, you noticed that, did you? Well, in that case, This is the list of complaints I have for this game, and they could easily take up 10 minutes, but I'm not going to do that. Having beaten this game at least a dozen times, I'm speaking from experience and the mindset of an annoyed critic.
Oh, this should be fun. I don't think I've ever seen this side of you before, actually. I feel like I need, like, popcorn.
Personally, Dodger, it takes a lot. Now, it's not that this game is bad, mind you, or even a terrible Batman game, but it does have some serious balance issues. For instance, the pacing of this game is way too slow compared to many past Batman games. Even though Batman looks so tough and cool when he walks in this game, he moves so lethargic and everyone else does not. This gives enemies a pure speed advantage and will cause some serious frustration for the player. Like when the clowns flip over and shoot you, giving you no time whatsoever to react. Not to mention this causes the game to become very boring, and it also doesn't help the levels because they just seem so bland and stretch on endlessly forever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is pretty annoying. Aside from the definite speed advantage, the hit detection is totally off. The bosses aren't the only enemy that can remove like 3 hits from your health bar. You can just walk into enemies and it does that. And the boss fights against like Catwoman, they take a lot of skill and knowing how she attacks. But for the Penguin, all you have to do is run and punch the crap out of him. So I definitely see what you mean about the game's balancing issues.
No, I'm just getting started. The placement of the enemies in this game is just twisted and never lessens. You will notice this when Batman is trying to progress the platforming zones. Here is where the overabundance of enemies appear, doing all they can to halt your progression. The bat grapple is sluggish and unresponsive most of the time, not to mention it takes pinpoint accuracy to latch onto and swing from stuff. That is severely messed up.
Yeah, I didn't really like the bat grapple either. I thought it was a good idea, but it wasn't executed very well.
Exactly.
That and pressing up on and hitting the jump button at the same time, it just felt really odd, though nowhere near Batman Forever's badness.
While I agree to that statement, they could have made the grapple in this game better. That way we wouldn't even need to compare it. Still, my final issue with this game has to be the Cape Glide.
The Cape Glide? Really? In Aladdin, you loved the gliding.
I see what you did there, but yes, I don't like it for this game at all. And here's why, Brooke. Unlike many Bat games, this one has a meter.
Oh, the meter. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And once it's used up, it's gone. Well, until you find the item for it. Though, the reason this proves bothersome, Dodger, has to be with refilling the glide. You see, most of the time, it's out of Batman's reach entirely, and ironically, the stages require the Cape Glide in order to get it. Seriously, what is up with that, and what were the developers thinking?
I mean, the meter is totally unnecessary. It's like putting a limit on how many times you can blink. Batman's cape isn't going to just evaporate after a certain number of uses. It's just silly. I don't have anything constructive to add, though, no.
Well, I guess I'm done then. Well, in that case, it's time for the good aspect, I suppose, because this by no means is an unplayable Batman game or Superman 64 worthy. So those of you that were getting ready to, I don't know, bomb my house, calm down. While I don't love this game, it does have some redeeming qualities. For instance, as a kid, I remember sitting down and watching this game with my friends. For its time, like with the Super Nintendo game, I really thought that it looked just like the movie, and that was pretty cool back then for movie games. Though in all honesty, aside from my friend's gamer rage with this game, only one thing has really stuck out to me all these years later.
And what would that be?
Why on earth is Batman purple?
That purple Batman is the best!
No, I'm serious. Why is the Dark Knight purple? I can understand that black would have been harder for people to see because of the game's graphic choice, as it's dark to begin with, but wouldn't it have made some sense to go with, I don't know, a blue look, similar to what we saw with his 8-bit incarnations? Or how about his grayish black look from his first Genesis game? Please, anything but purple!
I guess I figured the color options between the background and the foreground were really limited because black wasn't an option and Batman needed to stand out from the background. So rather than go with blue, which wouldn't have fit the palette as well and might have made him blend in with the far back, they went with a somewhat flamboyant purple color. I loved it as a kid, but especially when you see Batman and the Batmobile at the same time, it just feels similar to a man with a yellow Jag wearing a yellow suit to work.
I'm sorry, but I will never see the purple Batman as cool. But we're moving on. I really like the music for this game. The compositions for the score have a feel all their own, but occasionally we'll throw in a few nods to Danny Elfman's music, like when Batman is fighting the Red Triangle Circus Gang on the train. You can hear that gang's distinctive theme very briefly. It's the little things that I love about it, but what did you think about the music?
Oh, I love the music too. I'm glad we agree on that. Every area had music that was really engaging, but also somewhat creepy, and I loved it. I can't think of one point in the game where the music wasn't pretty foreboding. I would love for these songs to actually be redone sometime. You guys should totally get on that, Kwing. But yeah, overall, the music is really great. It suits the game really well.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, my guitarist is touring England somewhere, but who knows? You know, the future is the future. But I do agree with what you're saying. While I didn't go into detail about the Bat's arsenal, I have to say it's pretty awesome. Batman can carry up to 5 weapons on his utility belt, from his standard Batarang, Smoke Pellets, Bat Swarm, Bat Line, and Homing Batarangs. Seriously, why does he name everything Bat? It's just weird to me. What does he have, like bat deodorant, bat hairspray, bat toothbrush? Maybe he just has to label things so it's easier for him to find it, but anyway. As I recall, this is one of the first Batman games to show a significance and importance of Batman's weaponry in his fight against crime. While I won't go into an extreme amount of detail about all 5 gadgets, I would like to spend a little bit of time chatting about a few of them.
Alright, drop some knowledge, Kwing.
Consider it dropped. Alrighty. The smoke pellets have evolved a lot over the years in Batman games, though they mainly act as providing cover for Batman in later games. In this game, releasing the pellets immobilizes your foes, giving you plenty of time to strut over and deliver the hammers of justice. What's so sick about this, if it's used correctly, it makes most of the boss battles become less of a chore and really lessens the element of surprise from the unpredictable clowns you encounter. Dodger, if you don't mind, could you give us some insight on why the swarm attack rules?
Oh yeah, no problem. Now, the Bat Swarm, next to the Bat Line, is a weapon that Batman carries only in a limited variety. Still, it comes in really handy, unless of course the enemy gets out of range from the attack. Then you've totally wasted the ability. But anyway, the best time to use this technique is when a boss or an enemy appears next to Batman. Once released, it devours its target, drains their health, and prevents them from attacking. And sometimes it can even act as a shield when released in front of oncoming gunfire.
Yeah, I agree. The Bat Swarm, when used appropriately, is extremely awesome when it works. Just so you know too, Batman can actually punch and kick bullets sometimes, though I wouldn't recommend trying this in real life as it would not have the same effect.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure, but that's a theory I don't want to test if you don't mind. Anyway, the final gadget that is a godsend has to be the homing or heat-seeking Batarang. We all know this weapon is shown briefly in the movie and made its way into the comics and even appeared in different Batman games such as the Batman Arkham series. While very limited in the game, this has to be my favorite and most helpful gadget, since this game is chock full of annoying clowns that can leap from the side of the screen and block platforms that Batman needs to jump on. By releasing this weapon, no matter where on the screen or high up the enemy is, the Batarang never misses its mark. Plus, unlike its counterpart, this weapon is a one-hit kill, except on the bosses.
Typically I loathe weapons that consistently one-hit kill because it feels really lazy. But in this game, I'm totally okay with it, given how hard it is to pin down the clowns and the other baddies sometimes. I'm curious, though, whether or not you feel like you would play this game again.
Putting me on the spot there. I'm actually going to save your question to the end.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, okay. Replay value is okay, but there's no way to decrease the game's difficulty at all. So even though there's a password option that's done using a cheat code, you really have to search for it in order to do that, so if you think that's pretty cool, then yeah, you can play your favorite stages again. In terms of lasting appeal, I think Sega did an astounding job with the Sega CD attachment, such as improved gameplay, animations, and even added Batmobile stages. So to answer your question, finally, yes, thank you for waiting, I would play the Sega CD one because it's better.
Replay value for me... I mean, it's one of those games where if you played it when you were a really little kid like I did, it's good to play it again for the memories, although I was really proud of young me for getting as far as I did, because playing it again just reminded me of how relentless some of those areas are.
Younger us's. Hey, you know, Brooke, they would totally pwn us today because their skills were just unmatched back then.
Oh, it's so true.
In conclusion, Batman Returns for the Genesis wasn't that bad of a game. However, with its unresponsive gameplay, unbalanced enemies, clumsy grappling mechanics, and lame platforming, it's not something I can recommend sanely. Again, it's not the worst Batman game I've ever played, but I agree with what the critics had to say 20 years ago. If you can find the CD version of this game, you will definitely enjoy it a lot better. If not, then I suggest you pass on this game.
Yeah, I unfortunately agree. It's just a really clunky game. There are better Batman options if you're a fan and if you want to clean up the streets of Gotham.
Well, Dodger, thank you so much for stopping by again. I'm very happy with how this episode came out and that we were able to do a co-op, not just on another video, but on a Batman video.
Oh, same here. I am a huge Batman fan, so I'm always up for a good discussion, and I'm glad I got to be here and help out.
Anytime you want to do this again, please just let me know.
Alrighty.
Alright, cool. Well, that's going to do it for this episode then, folks. Next time on Retro Mondays is the start of my GameCube coverage, which is now 10 years old as of November 19th, 2001. To kick things off, we're heading into space to face off against the evil Space Monkey and his cronies. I'm, of course, talking about Star Fox Assault. Until then, thanks so much for watching. If you don't know who Dodger is, then check out our channel right down below where I'm speaking. You can't see me pointing. Yay! But, yeah, go subscribe, because she's really cool. Anyway, until we meet again, gamers, God bless and happy gaming. Thanks so much for watching, and have a fantastic day. Until the next time.
Bye!